Let's talk about some weed. NorCal cannabis farmers rally against increasing taxes.
This is fascinating to me. So California's revenue for marijuana taxes from legal marijuana is up 26% over last year. So they're getting, essentially a couple $100 million more this year than they did last year based on marijuana. This is complicated because I think as we were talking about the legalization of marijuana in California, what is the pro? The pro is you get taxes from it. You use this to gain taxes for the state, which we can use for, mental health. We can use to help people that are addicted to heroin or whatever. And it's a great way to get tax revenue in the state from something that you can get high from. Cool. Nothing, I think it's pretty proven now that for the most part, not much bad happens by the ingestion of cannabis. So they keep raising the taxes. Meanwhile, the black market is not getting taxed and is thriving still today. So much so that cannabis prices are decreasing. So as prices decrease and taxes increase, these people who actually went through the journey of becoming legal cannabis distributors are getting killed because they're not making nearly as much as the black market. It is sad to see. That being said, I don't know if this is just a PR campaign from legal cannabis, from the legal industry saying not wanting to pay more taxes, which I get. But to me, it seems like we're beginning to... The government is beginning to overstep their boundaries within the legal cannabis market.
I think, excuse me, I think legal cannabis in California is overtaxed. I just do. You kind of talk about that there's not much. I mean, that there definitely is cost associated with it being legal. But look at alcohol. Look at how there is clear money that needs to be allocated towards the damage that can be done with alcohol consumption, whether we're talking DUIs or what have you. And there still are DUIs with marijuana, but we're not talking about fatal crashes to the level. So there is some, again, cost that's going to be associated with having it legal. But you're right. It's highly overtaxed. I mean, if you look at the numbers of how much tax money the state is making, we're at a surplus with that industry. And so the fact that we're going to just add to that, they're saying that they're doing it, they're adjusting for inflation, but it's already overtaxed. Maybe let inflation come to where the actual level percentage-wise should be. So yeah, they're incredibly upset about this because this industry, it's a thriving industry, but the business owners that at the end of the day are the ones that are making money. It's not as lucrative because of how much they're actually being taxed. And in my opinion, they're being overtaxed. So I understand their issue with this.
It is, it goes to them not being able to compete with their illegal brethren, right? It's not fair to hinder a person who has gone through the legal process, which, by the way, is not a cheap or easy process to gain legal distribution rights in California, compared to the black market people who did not go through those, who are still operating in illegal ways and probably doing it for a reason, whether that be... we hear about the Mexican cartel all the time, right? So I just think that we really need to allow for these legal cannabis distributors to grow at a decent rate instead of slamming them with this wall of taxes, which we all feel in California. This is California. But like you said, there's a $31 billion surplus from taxes in cannabis alone. So why are we increasing that tax when we all have? What are we doing with that 31 billion? This is this is classic government overreach. And again, this is the reason why a lot of us really supported legalization of cannabis, is because it brings in these extra tax dollars and we can use these for great programs. But when is enough enough?
Right. I totally agree. We're big advocates for the California cannabis community. One thing too that I'll just add to this is I've been doing research on different states and their like legalization into marijuana and their different issues. So Oklahoma has some of the most lenient laws to have a cannabis business, that it's so saturated. The market is so saturated now that as a business owner, it's much harder to actually make money. So there is some incentive to having some regulation. It's just just like you said, when is enough is enough. What's the perfect balance? I don't know if any state has perfected it. It's all, everyone's kind of working through it in real time. But I would love for us to come up with almost a federal number where every state is just like, this is the number federally. It's not like every state or every county or every city is in charge of their own tax laws or cannabis laws. Make it federal.
Well, that's not going to happen because it's California and you got to put an extra tax on everything. It's also, is it legal federally? No.
Yeah, but I think that they're talking about doing that, are they not?
It's like just going to different places and seeing it legal. I forgot it's even illegal federally. Like I was in Las Vegas a couple months ago and it is everywhere. I was in the Chicago airport and they have those receptacles right before right before security in an airport where you can safely toss out your weed in case you forgot to unload it before you go through security.
Who gets to raid that bin at the end of the day? It's probably not the same one as people who pour their waters out. It's like, oh, no. This is the weed one.
I found a new job for Bob here.
This is the drug bin. It's like employee of the month at the airport. TSA gets to raid the drug bin at the end of every month.
Oh God, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I've never thought about who gets to go through the drug.
But again, you need to make it separate from the water one because a lot of water will.
Oh, it's clearly marked. It's big and green, and it has like this little tiny like hole where you can put your
green.
weed.
Of course, it's green.
It's green. Yeah.
God bless America.
But well, America, it's not federally legal. So, but look, there were big rallies in Humble about this within the legal cannabis community. And there was this big op-ed on Medium from the founder of Flow Canna, which is a big weed brand here. And they're basically saying, look, we got to stand up. We're not going to pay this. We can't afford it. I understand that. I mean, California is crippling a lot of businesses. And we know if you're legal, you're kind of new. You're supposed to be new, right? If you weren't, you were doing it illegally at some point, which is probably the case with most of these companies. But why are we hindering these new businesses? This could be a huge revenue driver.
It already is.
Correct.
It could be bigger. I mean, California, we had the tech boom. Now it's time for the cannabis boom. We, by reputation, have been the area that comes up with the best marijuana in the entire country, if not the world. By reputation, I personally think that's true. Let's capitalize on this. Let's maybe ease up on the taxes a bit, make it a little bit easier to start a company like this. Obviously, legally, we'd like for them to follow all of the standards, but let's make the standards a little bit easier for those business owners.
It also allows us to keep it local, because if these people are not making the type of revenues they can to grow, big corporations are going to come in and take over this type of stuff. And in 10, 20, 30 years, the cannabis, industry in California is going to look like that of big tobacco, which is obviously what no one wants. So
I'm glad you said that, because that's incredibly important. Keep it small. Let's keep the big corporations out as much as we can. It's inevitable. I heard 20 years ago that Marlboro bought 100 acres in the Humboldt area. Who knows if that's true or not? But keeping the increasing how much they're paying is only giving more room for those big corporations to step in.
I think about my interview with Amy from Humboldt Social and how I talked about gentrification within, these legal cannabis markets. And she said, that is our dystopia. We want to be able to tell the stories of these farmers, just like you would at like a farmer's market. Like, hey, we're a third generation tomato farmer. We're here selling our tomatoes. We put love into these. Here you go. And, say in Humboldt, it's like, hey, I'm a second generation cannabis farmer, first generation legal. Here are my kind buds.
Totally.
So we really need to not overtax these people or to, inspire them to go back to the illegal market. That is a terrible thing to do. So we are new to this, and we're finding sort of our comfort zone as far as taxes go, but we really need to be safe with this as a state in order to keep it local and to keep these businesses thriving.